The purpose of this recording is to provide exemplification of the top of the CEFR level C1 performance for speaking. We'll talk about indicators of performance that make this test taker typical of the top of the C1 band. This recording only provides test taker responses. If you would like further context for the questions in this recording, you can find the corresponding test item audio and transcripts in the video Speaking Exemplification. Item audio and transcripts. These are genuine responses from test takers. The responses have not been manipulated in any way. Therefore, there may be responses shorter than the allotted time, or the test taker may run out of time when providing their response. Table 1 shows the alignment of PTE Academic scores to the Common European Framework of Reference for Languages, or CEFR. The exemplification materials in this resource have been selected using this alignment. These exemplification materials show responses from test takers who have been classified at each CEFR band based on their PTE Academic speaking score. It should be noted that speaking scores come from the combination of many test items that measure different aspects of language proficiency. The purpose of these exemplars is to show the range of item responses produced by test takers in different CEFR bands and to provide indicative evidence of the key features of speaking performances across and within CEFR language proficiency bands. At the high C1 level, test takers are able to develop an argument systematically, highlighting significant points, providing supporting examples and explanations, and concluding appropriately. They speak with a high level of fluency, rarely hesitating, and usually maintaining a smooth, natural flow, even when discussing complex and unfamiliar topics. Their use of vocabulary is broad and precise, and when making an occasional error, test takers at this level demonstrate the ability to self-correct. For each test item, you will hear the test taker's response first, followed by the commentary on their response.
The following picture shows the information about the population in South Africa from 1996 to 2016. So if we look at the picture in the middle, we can find in 1996, we have 20 million in female, and also we have another 20 million in males too. So if we look at the number of 2001, we can find we have some increase in females, which is from 20 million to 22 million. And then if we look at the picture on the right, we can find the largest number can be found in 2016, which is around 40 million, and the lowest number can be found in 2000.
As we would expect at C1 level, this test taker can speak at length with little hesitation, and she manages to maintain logical organization, introducing the chart's main topic and describing its key trends. She uses appropriate stress and intonation to highlight these key trends, but makes minor grammatical errors in the way she describes numbers, for example, 20 million in female and 22 millions. These errors do not impact overall intelligibility, but they indicate she is not yet C2 level.
So this lecture has shared some information about the urban planning in Melbourne. So first of all, the lecture has mentioned something about the transport, which is very important to the limited residents. And he mentioned something about the walking distance, which has very great impact on the modern cities. And he also gives some information about the cost and also the overgrade distance, which is very important for the residents in Melbourne. In conclusion, we would know there's some difficulties to build a really modern and big cities in the world. So it is very important for us to understand.
This task type gives test takers a chance to demonstrate their receptive and productive skills. Here, the test taker shows a high degree of oral comprehension as she successfully conveys the main idea and some details from the lecture. Although there are some phonological and grammatical issues, She demonstrates C1 productive ability through her fluency and her ability to structure her summary. Phonological issues occur, particularly relating to intonation and word stress, but these do not impact our ability to understand what she is saying. Similarly, grammatical errors are mostly minor, not impacting overall intelligibility.
So there was a group of three people talking about the open days they're gonna holding in the university. So all of the three people will showing up at the open days, but they have different opinions about the open days. So one of the women, she reckon open days is very good for the potential applicants, but one of the guys reckon it is not very good for open days because lots of people apply this university already and they already turned away some very strong applicants. So he didn't really understand why they have to have the open days. So the other guys just mentioned there's a good benefits about holding the open day because it can give the potential students a more understanding about the university and could let them know whether the students could be the good fit for this university, and also they can be better manage the expectations for those potential students. On the other hand, some higher reputation universities also sometimes they would turn away some young talents because they are afraid they are not the school is not diversified to accept them like in different backgrounds. So open days could give them a better understanding the university is diversified and welcome the people from different backgrounds. So the woman mentioned there will be some first year students to show show them around and to show there's a good diversity in this university, and they will also answer the questions from prospective students, and they will answer their questions honestly, and they wouldn't just paint this university as a perfect university, and they will try to give as much as understanding about this university and which can bring the mutual benefits to both university and the potential.
This test taker demonstrates C1 communicative skills by being able to understand many ideas from the discussion and synthesizing them into her summary. She speaks fluently, in a seemingly effortless manner. She is also able to attribute the points she has heard to different speakers, something we expect at this level. She can select appropriate formulations from a broad range of language to express herself clearly without having to restrict what she wants to say. She maintains a good level of grammatical accuracy with the errors that occur not impeding communication.
Hi, have you guys heard that Lily is leaving us and start university next week? So she's excited, but she's quite sad of to say goodbye. So I am thinking maybe we can get some gifts for her and for her new apartment. So when she say the gift, and she can remind of us. How do you guys think? So I am thinking, because she is moving away and she must have lots of luggages. So reckon we can get her some lights, some stuff which is easy to carry. Maybe we can get some photographs of us and put.
This task assesses interactive skills and requires test takers to respond spontaneously, as they have little time to prepare. This test taker fulfills the requirements of the task by explaining her ideas clearly while using an appropriate register. She varies her intonation and word stress in a manner suited to the social context and demonstrates a natural flow of speech. Some grammatical errors occur, for example, luggages, as do pronunciation errors, for example, starting and carry. But due to her generally high level of control, we can understand everything she is trying to say.
The following bar graph represents the population of South Africa from the years 1996 to 2016. In 1996, both female and males accounts to 40 million, whereas in 2001 it slightly increased and in 2007 it kept on increasing. From this graph, we can observe that until 2016, there is a significant increase in the population of males and females in South Africa, whereas the male population looks a bit equal to the female population in the years 2011 and 2016, whereas the female population looks a bit more in the year 2007.
This test taker's response is typical of high C1 level. He covers all the main features of the image, as well as most of its details, using a logical structure. Although his pronunciation and intonation may occasionally put some strain on the listener, his speech is mostly clear and fluent, with few hesitations. He repeatedly misuses the word whereas when trying to contrast elements of the image, for example, the female population versus the male population. But he otherwise displays a broad range of vocabulary typical of C1 test takers. He makes very few errors, and none that hinder communication of what he is trying to say.
The speaker is mentioning about the Melbourne city's public transport, and he is referring that Melbourne was the dispersed city and regarding to urban planning as the world kept on progressing. In the world days, walking was the main mode of transport for the people, limited by walking into the city. As the city grows outwards, walking is not a suitable option, and it's not practical to cycle for long distances. Traditionally, public transport was difficult, but to move to suburbs or to the other side of city, it's always been proven difficult.
High C1 level test takers should be able to successfully retell the main points of a lecture of this kind, showing clear comprehension and solid control over language. This test taker's retelling is coherent and well-structured, displaying a good range of vocabulary and control over a variety of sentence structures. He accurately conveys details provided in the lecture, making them easy for an audience to understand. As we would expect at C1 level, he can produce smooth, intelligible spoken discourse with only occasional lapses in control of stress, rhythm, and intonation, which do not affect intelligibility. Similarly, his minor grammatical and lexical errors, for example, the Melbourne cities, do not impede his ability to communicate.
Here, the three group of people were speaking about the university opening date. They were wondering everyone will be coming, and since their university is reputed as the best university in the country, so high number of applications were already there from overseas and from the local people as well. So, trying to increase the demand makes the students getting disappointed if they didn't get any admission into their university. High reputation means more young people don't apply thinking that they won't get admitted. So they're aiming for all the people from all backgrounds and diversities to apply if they have talent. People, not only people studied in private schools, but also people who studied in country towns should also be encouraged to apply if they are talented enough. So they are welcoming all people from all diversities to get admitted into their university. And it also shows that university's first year students are going to volunteer to show support and help the visitors during the opening date, depending on what different kinds of brands are they gonna do. They also sit with them, otherwise it also increases their reputation and shows how diversified the university is already by meeting the first year students. So it's always a good and exciting day for the university, and everyone are excited and waiting for the day and to participate in the day and welcome all the visitors to their university.
This test taker demonstrates a strong understanding of the discussion and is able to convey this in a well-developed and well-structured summary. Although his speech bears accent and characteristics influenced by the other language or languages he speaks, his pronunciation is usually clear. There are occasional issues with word stress, but his appropriate use of stress at the sentence level ensures that we can understand what he is saying. Although fully able to communicate what he wants to say, He lacks the level of precision required at C2 level. For example, when he says 3 group of people and people from all diversities.
I would suggest some ideas of presenting her some books which might be useful for her uni, or a laptop which can be used for her studies. And also, she can be given a travel bag to travel to the city which is in her university. And also, I can suggest an idea of presenting her with gift cards where which she can use to buy groceries once she was started studying in the uni, so that it won't be burden on her to buy the groceries.
This task assesses test taker's ability to interact in a spontaneous manner. This test taker demonstrates high C1 level ability to express himself fluently and almost effortlessly. He has a good command of a broad lexical repertoire, for example, so that it won't be a burden on her. And there is little obvious searching for expressions as he speaks. The test taker consistently maintains a high degree of grammatical accuracy, with errors being rare and difficult to spot. Due to the spontaneous nature of the task and the pressure of the time limit, errors do occur. For example, gift cards, where she can use to buy groceries. But they do not prevent him from making himself clear.